I must begin with every address by stating the obvious. I am a visually impaired person, Your Excellency, but the streets just call me VIP for short. So when I start any address, I do want to be inclusive, not just talk the talk, but I also want to walk the walk by giving a visual description of myself. It's what we do for other visually impaired people that might be in the audience or who might watch this address later. I am a 5'7" and a bit black African woman. Chocolate skin is what I'm told my complexion is. Dark chocolate. Today I'm wearing my hair in an afro. It's in braids and it's down. And I'm wearing a chiffon, flowery, long sleeve dress, dominantly blue and with blue flats as well. So that's what I look like today. And I hope that when we meet, you can take an example and tell me what you look like so I can see who is addressing me. Thanks. Your Excellency, the Executive Secretary, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and alumni. You will all agree with me that we're living in a moment where leadership is being questioned across the world. Not because people have lost interest in leadership, but because too many leaders have lost touch with the people they are meant to serve. Trust in institutions is very fragile. Faith in politics is thin. And for many young people like yourselves, the promise that hard work will lead to deserved opportunity seems increasingly like smoke and mirrors today. But most certainly, many of you will sail through life with God's merciful grace covering you. Or perhaps your family name nepotisming you. As for the rest of us, the underdogs, like I have always been, life is going to get very murky, but you have to start from somewhere because you will achieve nothing if you start by surrendering. It's only your attitude that will determine your altitude. So whoever you are in whatever category you fall into, you're the reason why I'm here and why I've titled my address, "To Whom It May Concern." And so the question isn't whether merit in leadership still matters, because just you being here means that you are merited. It's what kind of leadership in this moment requires. I didn't grow up imagining myself in public office, to be honest. I'm not from a political family, nor with powerful connections or from wealth. I was born in Bombolulu, Mombasa, in a small flat roof bungalow with 3 bedrooms. One for my parents, one the boys would share, and one us girls would share with our nanny. The living room and the dining room was squeezed into the same room. Now fancy interior designers call it open plan design. But we know what it is. My mother kept a small chicken coop in the back, which didn't last very long, because there was this huge monitor lizard who would sneak in at night and eat all the eggs. And also there was one solitary coconut tree next to the low gate at the front of the house. Every time it rained, the roof would leak, and Mom would struggle with sfurias and basins all over the house while we folded the curtains and carpets. And because we were slightly at an incline in our neighborhood where the house was, the road outside would be an absolute nightmare when it rained for all adults, but a fabulous adventure for us kids. With a simple scan of my family, Your Excellency, you'll quickly find that I'm not the most educated amongst us, nor the most industrious. I'm actually the last born and the only one with a disability, even across my extended family. But the one thing we do all have is a built-in level of self-efficacy that has colored us in very, very many ways. For the first half of my life, until my late teens, days were light, future was bright. But that was not to last too much longer after I was diagnosed with an eye condition called glaucoma, which would give rise to all kinds of chaos. Doctor after doctor, treatment after treatment, And over 20 procedures later, glaucoma would eventually steal my eyesight completely. It didn't happen quickly, though. It was a painfully slow decline over several years. And there was absolutely nothing I could do to stop it. No person, no pill, no prayer could bring it back. There was no treatment that could reverse it, and no certainty to rely on, and no clear roadmap for what life, let alone a career, would look like for me. That experience forced an early reckoning in my life. Back then, as a sighted person going blind, it broke me. It shamed me. It confused me. I mean, when clarity disappears, what remains? When familiar paths close, what guides you forward? But if you ask me now that I have crossed over from a non-disabled girl into a disabled woman, I see things far differently. I took charge of my mind, my perspective. I tilted the lens and saw that disability didn't come to break me. It came to build me. It wasn't here to shame me, but to shape me. Not to confuse me, but to clear away from confusion and distraction. I learned that leadership over yourself or over others is not about seeing the future perfectly. It's actually about moving forward faithfully when the future is unclear. Because adversity, ladies and gents, is here to teach you, if only you would let it. At a time as a young student when I was preparing to David myself into the deep end with a sling and a stone like many of you are, with the added disadvantage of my physical sight disappearing, I was reminded of something that I was told by a teacher in high school that would ultimately slow drip into my subconscious mind. I didn't know it. She wrote in my sixth form farewell book, "Nurture your mind with great thoughts, for you will only go as far as you think." Those who live outside the center of power, the underdogs like me, often see society more clearly than those comfortably within it, because privilege makes people blind. They're not wiser by nature, but because exclusion sharpens perspective. We notice what's overlooked. We recognize who's missing in the room. We understand early on that systems are not neutral. They are designed, and therefore they can be redesigned. This is why inclusive leadership is not about sympathy. It's about intelligence. It's the ability to see what everyone else sees, but think in a way that no one else thinks. It's to hear what others ignore. It's to act where others hesitate. History repeatedly shows us that leadership, to the graduates here today, let me speak plainly. You're stepping into adulthood and leadership at a time of global tensions, economic constraints, and political fatigue. Many of you are highly educated, deeply connected, and ambitious, yet unsure whether the systems before you are capable of absorbing your talent. I know what that feels like. You were told that education would be the great equalizer, right? That merit would be rewarded and it would evolve along society. Instead, many of you are encountering shrinking opportunities, rising costs of living, and political processes that feel distant, that feel transactional, and very elitist. My sister sent me a text one time that said, adulting is realizing that those heavy school bags were the lightest burdens we will ever have to carry. And that's where you are now. So let me ask the first hard question. If our systems are producing frustration instead of hope, should young people adapt? endlessly, or should leadership adapt instead? My own answer to that is expressed perfectly by George Bernard Shaw, a writer, who says, and I quote, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world, but the unreasonable man persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." Close quote. Now, before someone clips this and say that I support rogue leadership because they're unreasonable, please note that I said all progress depends on the unreasonable man, not the unscrupulous one. But whomever you choose to become after today, that'll be for you to decide, of course, and eat the fruit thereof. Every generation inherits institutions shaped by the past. But the mistake is to assume that they must be preserved exactly as they are and as you found them. But I hope that you are convinced, like I am, that we have been put here to create for where we want to go, not to regurgitate where we have come from. Politics today is too often reduced to spectacle rather than service, to winning rather than governing, to protecting power rather than solving problems. Inclusive leadership demands a different type of ethic. It asks, who is missing from the room? Who bears the cost of our decision making? Whose lived reality is absent from our policies? And it also asks, who benefits when exclusion is treated as efficiency? These are uncomfortable questions, of course, but leadership that avoids critique eventually avoids relevance, in my opinion. And true leadership is not measured by who speaks the loudest. No, I'm not about who dominates the room or who commands attention with sheer volume. It's measured by value, by they who dare to ask the hard questions, who listen when it's easier to ignore, and for those who act with courage even when the path is uncertain. There is a persistent myth, I'll call it, that strong leadership must be hard, distant, and inflexible. But history tells a more nuanced story, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the most effective leaders did not rule through fear, but through legitimacy. They understood that authority is strongest when it is trusted, and also that trust is built through fairness. It's built through transparency. Let me ask you another question, especially to the young leaders in the room who are jump-starting their careers. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? It's as if God has told you to fly and you decide to walk instead. Hear me when I say, true humility is not standing at the back of the crowd, but being whoever God has called you to be at any particular moment. And this is the time. Many of you will leave here destined to become managers, to become directors, to become chairpersons, tech innovators, industry moguls, maybe the next president of the Republic of Kenya, and gang, gang. Gang, gang, gang. And I really wish there was a surefire blueprint that I could give you to maneuver through each of those stages of your leadership journey. But I don't have one because, as you can see, I've never been any of those things. What I do have, however, are many things that I see in leadership right now that you may want to consider. And all of these lessons I have plagiarized from the Bible, by the way, so I just give credit to where it's due. Number one, if you're a note taker, this is your moment. Number one, politics is not political, it is spiritual. So number one, make prayer your air and ask for the wisdom to observe and the courage not to absorb what you observe. Number two, Daniel had to study Babylon, for those who are Christian and read the Bible, in order to be effective in Babylon. So if you're going to remain in a position of power, you must have relationship with all people, whether they believe in what you believe or not. Because becoming ingratiated is where the juice will be at. You have to be ingratiated into the system that is corrupt to redeem it, because you will never redeem something you are not able to understand. Number three, be so extraordinarily excellent that they cannot ignore you. As you begin, spend a lot of time with your head down, becoming 10 times as better than the next guy. That's what I've been trying to do. Because to build something that lasts, you have to build down before you can build back up. Number four, do not silence yourself from saying something, and do not speak to say nothing. Next, understand the ways that people use to keep you stuck. First, they get you focused on things that you can't control in your capacity right now. Then they rage bait you to focus on things you don't have at all. But the most effective one that I've noticed is to get you stuck on the past or the future, which keeps you powerless to change your present because you're always thinking of something else. Next, don't compromise character for a position, and don't twerk for power. Yes, please. And when I say don't twerk for power or be someone's entertainment, I'm not actually talking to women alone. I'm talking to men as well. Because men also dance for power. They dance when they are lobbied for power. They dance by an authority above them when the authority tells them do this and do that. That's also dancing for power. They dance for reverence so the country knows who they are and knows their name. That is also dancing for power. And lastly, on my list of considerations for you to take forward is to do directly with my visual impairment. And it's tunnel vision. You know, being blind for me means no peripheral distractions. I've gained discipline because of being blind. I've gained focus, alertness, control, forward thinking, and a level of anticipatory leadership that I did not have when I was born with my full eyesight. So have that tunnel vision. I'm no longer comparing or competing. It's not about the person to the right or to the left of me because I can't see them. I have this tunnel vision. Now I play the long game. And that game is against myself. So work your land. Work with what you have right now. Don't wait for what might come in the future or what has been lost in the past. Because we shouldn't think about the shadows and what we cannot do. Because there is so much more light and things that we can do, even with what we have right now. I usually say, I have my vision, and it doesn't need my eyes to see. Though I have glaucoma, glaucoma does not have me. I'm a poet, Your Excellency. You know I'm a musician, so words are my thing. So, leadership is not a title that you get once conditions are perfect, is what I'm trying to say. It's a responsibility that you accept when conditions are imperfect, actually. The temptation in difficult times for us is to disengage, to dismiss politics as broken, leadership as corrupt, and participation as futile. But I think that withdrawal does not weaken bad systems. It actually leaves them unchallenged. The world does not change because better people wait, is what I'm trying to say. Patiently on the sidelines, it doesn't change. It changes when they step forward with discipline and courage and humility. And let me underscore, by the way, humility, guys and girls. I stay humble because life has a way of turning you into what you used to laugh at, what you used to look down at, what you used to ignore. The legitimacy of leadership of the 21st century will be measured not by how power is accumulated, but by how opportunity is expanded. That's what inclusive leadership is. So become the type of leader that, within reason, of course, is willing to expand the fortune of others without expecting anything in return. And trust me, you will get everything in return if you do that. Despite the complexity of our times, I remain confident and believe in a future where leadership is more representative, it's more ethical, and it's more human. Where young people like us are not asked to shrink ourselves to fit outdated systems, but we are invited to reshape those systems, with integrity. Where politics, once again, becomes a space for collective problem solving, and not constant division. To the graduates here before me as I close, you are not too young, you're not too idealistic, you're not too inexperienced to lead. Just like my disability pushed and shaped me into a new way of being, I think that you are being pushed and shaped by realities that demand new ways of thinking. And that is precisely what leadership requires of you. Disability or not. Remember, adversity comes to teach you things if only you would let it. Does anyone here like to journal? Yeah? You like writing, okay? Let me read an excerpt. I wrote to myself when I started in politics. First-time politician. None of the politicians in my family. That's what I wrote. Familiar is not brave, and similar is not safe. Crystal, where you're from won't compare to where you go if you dare to go. Because there is a person inside of you and things inside of you that only the unfamiliar can call out of you. Walking out into the unknown is walking into the unknown of you. And an unknown version of you that is presently unknown to you. But you can only grow, Crystal, in that very place that is uncertain, that is calling out to you. It needs you to go so that God can call a new version out of you. Close quote. If you choose inclusion over exclusion, service over status, and courage over convenience, I believe that you will build institutions worthy of public trust. That is the leadership that this moment calls for. And you will only get there if you pull out a new version of you. And I believe that you are equal to it, as am I. And that's why in 2027, that's why in 2027, when I look for your support, I believe I shall have it. I know I can't see it, I know I can't see it, but I can see it. Thank you very much. I thank you most sincerely.